One day, on a particularly difficult day, I said to my husband, I never knew this would be my story. And immediately I stopped myself and I said, oh no, this is not my story. It's just a sentence and a paragraph. Because I believe when you live a creative lifestyle, you have the individual creativity, something inside of you that helps you find creative solutions, inspiring solutions, uncommon solutions for everyday situations. And we're all on a journey, we're all on a path, but we encounter different problems, if you want to call them that, or circumstances that need resolution, that need a solution, that the problem just needs to resolve. And our words have power. Life and death are in the words we speak. So when we speak negatively, we likely will have the exact outcome that we speak of. Or when we speak positively, then we have the opportunity for a positive outcome. So my challenge for myself is to look for creative ways to find a positive outcome, positive spoken words for difficult situations in life. And it's not always easy. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you do nothing, nothing will happen. If you don't try, you won't know. And just what if? What if you could have the outcome that you desire? Do you desire an outcome that's different than what your current circumstances reveal? Do you have purpose? Do you realize you have influence over yourself, first of all, and over your home, and over those in your... You do have a circle of influence, even if you live by yourself, if you work by yourself, if you have no children, if you have no family, you still have influence. And so do you feel that sense of purpose? So I want to challenge you with this thought. When we had an opportunity to go to my husband's grandmother's house when she was moving from the home that she lived in for, I don't know, 50 years, maybe more, to another home. And when we got there, everything was gone, but they were waiting on a donation facility to come pick up the few things that were left that weren't moved and that family members didn't want. And so there were some items laying on the table, and they said, go in there and look and see if there's anything that you want. Take it if you do, because it's just being donated. Well, on that table was this. Oh my goodness. You guys know, if you've followed me any amount of time, that I love vintage linens. And all the better if they're hand embroidered. This one is worn. See, some of the stitches are worn away. This is so freshly starched, and I know that Grandma, I have not washed this since I've gotten it. But I've kept it right where I could see it. Now let me show you. So this would probably back in the day be called a dresser scarf. Look. So not only does it have the embroidery, but it also has this delicate crocheted edge. You guys, I cannot tell you the joy that these type of linens bring to me. And I know when it happened, and I should tell that story sometime. Probably not on this video, but I know the time that I fell in love with this kind of linen. Now, I've kept this right where I could see it. And the time has come for me to, I can't decide if to take it home and use it as a table runner, because does anyone use dresser scarves anymore? I love them. I love them. But I could use it for a table runner, but I could also cut it apart and make something else out of it. So I'm still in the deciding phase about that. But I want to talk to you about this butterfly and how it relates to creativity and the things you speak. So when you speak, you're telling a story. If you speak negatively, you're telling a negative story. And if you speak positively, you're telling a positive story. I have a friend who, I don't know if it's called raising butterflies, protecting butterflies. I'm not sure what it's called, but she has all these caterpillars that she has put into an enclosure so that birds won't eat them. And they've made a chrysalis, and now those are hatching. And she's showing pictures on Facebook of the beautiful butterflies that are coming from these once caterpillars to a chrysalis to a butterfly. Well, you know what? Let's just pretend that caterpillar could talk. And let's just pretend that caterpillar would say, I'm not a butterfly. I'm just an old green worm with black stripes. I just go like this on vines. I'm not a butterfly. Butterflies flutter by. What if that caterpillar said that over and over? His words are writing the story of being a caterpillar. But what if he decided to write a different story? What if he decided to say, one day I'm going to be a beautiful blue and black butterfly with iridescent spots along the edges of my wings, and I'm going to flutter, and I'm going to fly, and I'm going to flutter by. And one day, just wait and see, I will no longer be a mushy green worm with black stripes that eats the vines. But one day, I'm going to be a butterfly. What if he did tell that story? What if he did? And even though the point in time came that he hardened and he attached and he became a hard chrysalis, entombed in a cocoon, hard and stiff against the weather, the hot sun that beats down, and he couldn't stretch and he couldn't wiggle, but he stayed in his cocoon. And I wonder if he thought, I'll never be a butterfly. I'll never be a butterfly. Would he shrivel and die? Maybe. I'm not sure. But I do know in the hard, in the hot, in the difficult, in the tight places, at just the right time, my friends, chrysalis are breaking open and beautiful butterflies are emerging. So, what story are you telling yourself? This is what I've said to myself for several years, many years. I can write my story and change my life. I'm not talking about woo-woo. I'm not talking about magic. I'm not talking about things that make no sense. I'm talking about the truth of life and death are in the tongue, in the spoken word. That's truth. That's truth. That's not made up. That's not mindset. Well, the only way it applies to mindset is that you just decide. You just decide to write a different story with the words you say. You no longer say, I'll never be a butterfly. I'm just a mushy green worm with black stripes. You begin to say, because you decide, one day I'm going to be a butterfly. And when I flutter by, people would say, oh, did you see that beautiful butterfly? So what story are you telling yourself? And today, can you decide to tell yourself a different story, that one day you will be a beautiful butterfly? Now, the butterfly videos that you see and the pictures, videos and pictures that you see are from my friend's garden, Abigail. She was so kind to send her pictures so that you could see some of the reward that she has seen, the transformation in her own garden this summer. What transformation could you see in your life? Maybe with just changing the things you say and the things you do. I'm so glad you stopped by for a visit. These are the pictures that I mentioned. My friend Abigail allowed me to post on here so that you could see some of her caterpillars and butterflies that have emerged across the summer. Aren't these pictures beautiful? Thank you, Abigail, for letting me use them in this video.